Hey, everybody, we are talking about a fascinating topic around the surge of data at the edge these days with a true innovator, ZEDEDA. How are you, Maxi?
I'm doing well, Evan. How are you doing today?
I'm really well. Fascinating topic. I talk a lot about edge computing, but you guys are taking a really fascinating and novel approach. Before that, maybe just introduce yourself and how would you describe your team and the mission these days?
Sure. Yeah. So appreciate the time and great to meet you. So full name's Michael Maxey. I go by my last name. There's 4.5 million Mikes in America, if you believe Wikipedia. So I've gone by my last name for quite a while. ZEDEDA is an edge orchestration and management company. So we've really been focused since day one, which is 7 years ago, around building a solution for moving workloads to the edge. Again, pushing applications to data, and that's really been our business and our focus. The word ZEDEDA is challenging to pronounce. It actually does have some meaning. It's our founder is Moroccan, and in Moroccan it loosely
Oh,
translates to innovation. But yeah, it's a great company, been around about 7 years, and we're really focused on solving solutions for big enterprises when they're deploying compute outside the data center.
well, you're at the right time at the right place because the edge is just exploding, particularly now with more and more data coming in through more and more systems. So, how do you differentiate between, let's say, traditional edge computing solutions or, IoT has been around for a while now.
Yep.
What's the problem you're solving today?
Yeah, I mean, I think the problem we're solving today is one we recognized in the beginning, which was, the conventional wisdom 7 years ago is we'll just connect everything and push it to the cloud, right? And then in the cloud, we'll do all the data analytics or AI or whatever we need to do. And what the founders sort of recognized is that, our networks are built for download. They're asymmetrical in nature. It's so we can stream video. So upload is harder, it's more expensive, and the amount of devices coming online is just way overwhelming any network. So they set out really day one to bring a cloud-like experience to your compute running anywhere in the world and where that is, right? And what that means is you end up dealing with a number of new challenges outside the data center, and one of them is networking. Right, you're not always on reliable networks. If you're in a vehicle rolling out to an oil well, you probably have no network for a period of time, but you still need to function and you still need to be able to be updated and these sorts of things. So we set out very early on to build systems that address these unique requirements of outside the data center compute. And our early adopters were very much, big industries, so oil and gas and automotive, and the industries that have invested billions outside data centers, right? Building oil wells and factories and dealerships and these sorts of things. So that's really been our focus. Our unique capabilities is we're sort of built for this environment.
Hmm.
And a lot of the other technologies that are really popular, kind of evolved through the cloud, where you have connectivity and you have a guy that can go put a USB key if something bad happens, or power cycle machines. You can't do that on the edge. So it is a different paradigm you have to build for, and we've been really toiling away at that, I guess, for the last 7 years.
Fantastic. Well, your efforts are certainly starting to pay off. You've also taken a really unique open source approach within the context of the Linux Foundation. Maybe talk about that and that approach as well.
Sure. Yeah, so we, part of our solution is it's called Eve. It stands for Edge Virtualization Engine. It's what you install on the node, and we made that open source and put it into the Linux Foundation Edge project. So LF Edge is a group of, as it sounds, edge-related projects for infrastructure, for data. There's blueprints. There's about, I think, 18 projects now inside there. There's some AI solutions, data movement. So we were one of the founding members that sort of created LF Edge back in the day, and the idea was, as an operating system, open source brings a lot of value. We sell to big enterprises; they want to know what's in your operating system, and they maybe want
Mm.
to modify it. They maybe want to run a Red Hat version of it, or run a SUSE version of it, or so open sourcing it gives a lot of visibility into our customers. It also helps build a community. So other developers can come in, start to build on Eve, use it in their own way if they want to go build edge projects or something to that extent. So open source is a big part of sort of our DNA and our company, and has been, for 4 or 5 years now. And it's really helped our company, I think, as we've evolved from our first customers to the series of customers we now have in the enterprise space. Having that transparency and having flexibility that comes with it. Our customers can contribute if they need custom things. Has really unlocked some of our deals and some of our customers.
Fantastic. And congratulations on the recent Series C funding. No small task. How does that accelerate some of the goals that you just outlined there?
Yeah, I mean, it was surprising and incredible. I think raising money these days is no trivial feat. So the team did a fantastic job, and we're super excited with the new investors. It was led by Smith Point Capital, and the team there is really great. They've been super helpful, very hands-on, opening doors for us, challenging us. So it's changed the company a bit in that we can now invest where we've wanted to invest and maybe couldn't as much in the past, right? So we're looking hard at edge AI and how we can partner and accelerate solutions there. We're thinking about different geographies that maybe we couldn't have covered in the past. So do we open offices and remote locations and those sorts of things? So it has unlocked. We're not going crazy. We're not spending 90% of it on ads in Facebook or anything like that. We're still a pretty conservative growth company, which is why I think we were able to raise such a successful round, as our valuations and our growth, and we've really built on foundations versus sort of hype. So we'll continue that strategy. We're going to go faster. We're going to do more, but we're also going to sort of build a meaningful business along the way.
Well, wonderful mission. So it seems you focus a lot on increasing visibility, security, control of this distributed edge. I mean, this is the main strategy to allow your customers to handle this kind of surge in demand.
Yeah, I mean, I think like maybe the way to describe it is, what we typically see is, an enterprise will have a project, right? And the project could be, I want to optimize how I do something near the edge, or I want to collect more data and do predictive maintenance on a machine, right? I want to know when this machine's going to break down. So they'll go and they'll work with a vendor, or they'll build something in open source, or they'll build something proprietary, and they'll put together a system that consists of generally like an old virtual machine that connects to the machine, Windows NT or Windows 2000, connects to a bunch of containers that do something, around that piece of data. They'll build it and they'll get to that point and they're like, okay, now how do I deploy this in 10,000 places, right? And that's really where we come in, right? So we're not building the applications that connect to the machine. That's all our partnerships or what our customers are doing. We're that layer that says, okay, let's take that combination, and it also generally includes a firewall and some network connectivity and these sorts of things as well. How do you bundle all that up, ship it to 10,000 locations, update it when it needs to be updated, and at the same time make sure it's your device and the software is complete, right? And that's really what we bring to that equation, is that scale and that distribution piece.
Well said. You built some really interesting partnerships around the go-to-market. It's quite an ecosystem there. It's a very complex landscape. Care to call out those partners at all, or how that's going to help support, developers and customers?
Yeah, I mean, like it's hard to choose one, because my role is to love all of them. They're all my favorite. But I think that as I just described, it's key to our platform, right? Like people want to run an outcome. They want to do value at the edge, and we help them deliver that value to the edge, but we don't build those apps. So the partnerships are super important. I think we do have some OEMs that maybe I'll call out because they're very tight partnerships. Emerson is an industrial company. Also Rockwell Automation. They both use our platform, and they
Oh, wow.
bring in their applications and sort of specialize around their market, and are using our solution to deliver to their end customers. So maybe we'll call out those. And then I also we have a marketplace concept, which is how you deploy applications to these nodes. So like your phone, you sort of can browse applications. And my role is sort of building out that as well. So we have some great partnerships in there, and they're all on our website. So go take a look, and our goal is really to make it easy for our customers to find best of breed, but bring what they need to bring on their own, and manage that at scale. So thousands or tens of thousands of places.
Yeah, and as you're open source, I imagine you'll be deployed everywhere, anywhere. Where are you finding most traction? Any particular scenarios or verticals or sort of
Yeah, I
industry?
mean,
Obviously, automation is a good one in the industrial manufacturing side of things. But
yeah.
what say you?
I mean, these projects take time, right? I mean, it's
Hmm.
hard to buy 10,000 computers and send them to 10,000 locations, right? So, I think like where we see a lot of traction was where we started, which was sort of in the oil and gas space, right? So our first customer was an oil and gas services company, gigantic company. A lot of their IP is going to these wells and helping the
Wow.
operators optimize them, right? And so you're running on trucks, you're running outside the data center, amazing security requirements and networking requirements, and their IP is on those trucks, so it's critical to their business. And that was our first customer. So we've expanded inside that customer to more and more use cases. We're in like 5 or 6 different departments now, but we've
Hmm.
also signed other oil and gas, both producers and service providers. So that's kind of where we started, and have a really strong story in that vertical. But we're also used in transportation, so we work with automotive companies and shipping vessel companies. We're embedded in machines, so we end up on factory floors. Retail is starting to pick up. We're seeing more and more demand in the retail space, and so it's kind of our history is that oil and gas, and we're super strong there. But more and more, we're seeing a broader set of use cases and customers.
Fantastic. Um, what's next? You're involved in so much within, the industries you serve. What are you looking forward to the next weeks and months out there in terms of meetings? I know there's a ton happening in the Linux Foundation
Yeah.
arena, but what are you personally excited about?
Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe starting with the Linux Foundation space, we just came out of the One Summit, which is sort of our the annual
Hmm.
event that includes LF Edge, which is the group that we participate in, and LF Networking. So, it was here in San Jose. It was a great conference. It was nice to finally meet a lot of the people I've been on Zoom with for the last few years. And part of my role, I'm on the board of the LF Edge. So, we really are trying to drive a lot of awareness around this. I think that we met as a board and we kind of talked through like how do we do things faster and broader, and part of that is plugging into some of the vertical groups, either open source or industry groups. So we're going to start kind of packaging up LF Edge into more of a consumable set of like, here's really what we can do, and start bringing it to other communities because they're looking for solutions. And then we're also we want to make it easy for people to consume the stuff we build, right? Because
Mm.
open source is fantastic, but if you download something and you spend 8 hours making it work, it takes 8 hours to it's valuable to you, right? So if we've introduced this project called the LF Edge Sandbox, which is a SaaS-based deployment solution. It's basically ZEDEDA, but on loan to the LF Edge for developers to use, where they can just kind of one-click deploy all these projects. So we're
Wow.
trying to drive a faster experience for developers and users, so they can just sort of stand up like a data solution and try it that day, instead of really having to grind through documentation and figure out how to make it work. So there's a lot of effort around easy to consume, not only from other projects but even for developers and consumers of the open source projects.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I see you're a active member of the Kubernetes community and leveraging infrastructure for edge Kubernetes. You're really in the heart of cloud native development. Much this modern approach to cloud development. What's next? Anything you care to share? I imagine you're ramping up the team as well. Where are
Yeah,
you guys physically based, or are you, virtually and everywhere?
yeah. So a little bit of both, right? Like we have 3 main offices today. You know, our headquarters is San Jose, California. We have a development in, well, it's basically an office in Berlin as well, Berlin, Germany.
Mm.
And then we have a couple offices in India. And then we have people distributed as well, both developers and, you know, sales and support and other teams. So we are pretty distributed. We're in a lot of countries. You know, our software is deployed all over. You know, we have one
Mm.
particular customer that's deployed in 72 different companies or countries, I should say.
Wow.
So you know, the workload is distributed, and so is the team. You know, and you mentioned Kubernetes. So just circling back to that, we see a lot of Kubernetes. We have a Kubernetes as a service, so similar to your cloud offerings. You can kind of click to
Mm.
deploy Kubernetes, and that's an interesting challenge at the edge, you know, because you're running on one node and you're running a cluster, and how do you manage 10,000 of those?
Mm.
So, you know, we do a fair amount in that space, and we're really trying to invest in that space to make, you know, to kind of change a little bit around the paradigm. I mean, the classic Kubernetes is you have, you know, 5 or 10 really big clusters. You know, we have 5,000 really small ones. So it's a different challenge to go solve, and you know, we work really closely with our customers and community around that.
Fantastic. Well, congrats on all the success, onwards and upwards. Any travel for yourself coming up? Anything interesting personally, professionally to call out?
Yeah, well, I'm going to Red Hat Summit next week in Denver, so
Oh,
curious to
right.
connect with some folks there and learn more about what they're doing, and you know, working on partnerships there. And then you know, it takes 2 years to get one, so I'll mention that I'm going to Bandon Dunes to golf in the summer. Pretty excited
Ah,
about that.
fantastic.
So you know, little personal life there.
Wonderful. Well, enjoy that and enjoy Denver. Spring has arrived finally. And thanks so much for sharing insights on the edge of technology. No pun intended. Really fascinating work.
Yeah,
Thanks,
I
Maxim.
appreciate the time and good discussion. Great question.
Thanks everyone for watching, and reach out, follow the team. They're doing some amazing work. Take care.